Now, with a weather warning currently in place for 11 different counties right across Ireland, it appears that the upcoming week is going to have some fairly erratic weather. There's also snow expected, we understand, too, during the week. Alan O'Reilly from Carlow Weather is with us here on Lunchtime Live. Alan, how bad are we expecting things to get now this week?
Well, Andrea, it's going to get very wet, unfortunately, tonight and tomorrow and into Wednesday. So, as you say, yellow rainfall warning has been issued for counties really from the Midlands upwards, with 30 to 50 millimetres, but it's going to be wet right across the country. The UK Met Office actually have named a storm now Christoph. So Christoph is the next storm name to be used. It's primarily been named by the UK Met Office because of the risk of flooding, especially, unfortunately, into Wales and parts of England and Scotland. But in Ireland, we're going to see very wet now tonight, very wet tomorrow, and then more rain on Wednesday. And the problem then is we're going to have some very cold air arriving on Wednesday. So the back edge of that could turn to snow, mainly on higher ground in the east and the southeast. But it could be kind of a sleety mix at lower levels for a time as well on Wednesday afternoon. And then temperatures are going to drop right back. So we're going to have some icy patches again for Thursday and Friday and Saturday with frost at night, which the good news, I suppose, Andrea, is from Thursday onwards, we will see some good sunny spells. So at least, that cool and settled weather will be there for a couple of days, but very wet.
Little interest now, Alan, I have to say, in hearing about frost and ice and snow towards the end of this week. But when you talk about the ice and the snow, is that countrywide? I know you mentioned snow on Wednesday in the east and southeast, but
yeah, I suppose the highest risk from Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening will be the east and southeast. But the cold temperatures will be right across the country with icy patches. There will also be snow pushing into the northern areas as well on Thursday, mainly into Ulster really. But you could see some wintry showers, I suppose, from Thursday onwards. But it's the rainfall, I think, is probably going to be the biggest issue, especially in the Midlands. And like if you draw a line from, say, Galway to Dublin and kind of go north of that, is going to be really heavy rainfall. So we have high river levels already, ground quite saturated. So unfortunately, areas prone to flooding should be on alert, especially probably in the Midlands and Midwest, because there is a likelihood of flooding there, unfortunately.
Okay, so you're saying the Midlands counties, be aware of flooding now on top of all of this as well later in the week?
Yeah, well, I suppose really over the next 48 hours, but into probably peaking Wednesday morning, especially when you have the runoff from the mountains and that. So Tuesday and Wednesday, tomorrow and Wednesday, really very heavy rainfall will kind of bring those river levels right up, and then turning very cold after that. So very wet and then turning cold.
Right. I mean, Alan, I know it's kind of hard to look too far into the future, but over the next couple of weeks, are you kind of expecting more of this now? Or?
Well, the sudden stratospheric warming that we've spoken about a few times now has been kind of causing a lot of uncertainty in the weather models. If you look at the longer range forecasts, and Éireann now have started to do a monthly forecast, there is an increased likelihood of seeing more of a cold kind of spell to the end of the month and the start of February. And February very often is our highest risk of seeing kind of outbreaks of snow. And things are still happening in the stratosphere that haven't really come down to our level yet. So there is a risk of that. But at the moment, we're kind of caught between exactly what we're going to see this week. Some very kind of wet spells of rain coming up from the south and then cold air coming down from the north. And we're kind of fluctuating between the two of those. I suppose the big risk, Andrea, would be that we end up with a perfect storm where you get the two of them meeting and you end up with a very heavy snow event like we saw with Storm Emma when we had a front coming up and meeting cold. And that kind of thing is rare, but it can happen, and we are kind of seeing that kind of setup possibly continuing for the rest of January and into the start of February. And we have seen spring being late to arrive, and there is some suggestions that could be the same again this year.